Hi, this is Michelle with Michelle's Macarons, and today we're going to talk about your meringue for your macarons. So if you haven't already, go watch this video, and this will show you step by step how to make macarons, and this will show you pretty much how to get the meringue down. But if you have even more questions, go watch this one, and then if you still have questions after that, come and watch this. Okay, so these are some of your frequently asked questions just about the meringue. If you have other questions about macarons and you're having other macaron problems, here are some of the other frequently asked question videos I've done. Okay, the first question is, does the meringue need whipped at different times if you're in different temperatures or humidity? No, I don't think so. The humidity and the temperatures, that usually only affects the drying time and after you've kind of added it in. If it's like really, really, really hot, it might. But if you're in a house with like air conditioning, I would start by trying at the times that I say in this video, and I would adjust other things before I touch that if you think the temperature or the humidity is your problem. So I would still recommend doing the times that I put in this video. If you need other macaron tips and tricks, here are some other videos I go over kind of more details. Okay, the second question is, what type of mixer do you use? So when I was baking at home, I used a KitchenAid stand mixer. Now I use a huge commercial Hobart mixer, but I've never had a problem with using different kinds of mixers. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would just find one that works and can get up to a pretty high speed. You can use hand mixers. You're just gonna have to adjust the time a little bit. If you're enjoying this video, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it to be notified whenever I come out with a new video. So question number 3 is, can you use a hand mixer and are the times the same? So this person was referring to the times in this video. I would not use those exact times. You probably have to go a little longer, and I would just use the visuals from this video and then this video, because that will help you, and you can just look at the bowl, look in the mixer and see what it looks like instead of going by the time. So you can definitely still use a hand mixer, just be careful with using the same times that I use. Okay, question number 4 is, can you use carton egg whites? So I used to say absolutely not, because you can't get consistent results with that because not all of the brands are the same. So if you want to try that, go into the Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group, and ask in there what the best brand of carton egg whites are. So carton egg whites is just egg whites that are already separated with no yolks. They're broken, the yolks are tossed, and there's only egg whites in there, so you don't have to separate them. I would still do your own research on that to see what you can get in your area. And I have heard of a lot of people doing like maybe half and half. You could start with that if you're scared to go full carton egg whites. You could add just maybe a fourth in and then a half, and just keep going more and more until you are using all carton egg whites if you want to try that. Okay, the 5th question is, what is the timing? So that varies based on your mixer. Sometimes if you're doing a huge batch, it's going to be a little different than if you're doing a small batch. These are the times in the beginner recipe. These are the times I start with. So you can try those first, but I would not depend on them too much. If you see what I'm saying in that video and you think mine looks just like that, but she says do a couple more minutes still, just go with what you see. You'll come up with your own timing eventually once you kind of get the hang of it. I like to time it, and because I want to know every time, so I don't have to do the visual thing every time. So once you figure out how long it takes, I would mark down the times every single time and then compare and look at what the finished macarons look like compared to each time. So if you really want to do this, and make sure everything is the same, time everything you're doing, like the meringue, when you put the cream of tartar in, when you put the sugar in, when you stop it, then count how many times you fold, write that down, and how long you dry. You could even put down the temperature and the percentage of humidity that time, and then compare your notes on every single time. Okay, that's just if you're crazy though. Now, the sixth question is, can the meringue be too stiff? So a lot of people want to know, what are stiff peaks even? Like, everyone says whip until stiff peaks, but who the heck knows what that is? So this is what they are supposed to look like when they're stiff if you're using the recipe that I use. And it wouldn't be too stiff, it would be broken. It would break, the meringue would break. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video like that. I'm gonna show you from like a real time whipping all the way when it's right, and then what it looks like as it starts to break. But I'm just gonna keep whipping it through to show you what happens so you will know, and you won't be scared of whipping it too much. So when you're whipping egg whites, you usually don't have to worry about them getting too stiff, just because everything we've always been taught has just been like, don't over whip like whipped cream or meringue. And I usually don't see people over whipping, but that is something you can do. So make sure you're timing it every time so you know what to look for. So the timing also varies, even if you have a KitchenAid mixer like I do. The high on a KitchenAid, like, I forget what they're called, but they're like the professional series, is different than the high on one of the cheaper, not really cheaper, but less expensive, not as expensive as the other one. That high, it doesn't have as much power as the professional series. So even if you see my KitchenAid mixer and you think I have that same one, it might be different, and you still might have to adjust your times based on your mixer. The seventh question is, what are the settings you use for the mixer when forming meringue? So, like I was saying before, this will vary based on your mixer. I like to start it on like a lower speed that will kind of froth up the egg whites, then do a medium speed, then a high speed. Okay, the eighth question is, when do you add food coloring? So that depends on if you're using powder, liquid, gel. If you're using like a gel or a liquid, I used to add it in the beginning with the meringue. Once I got the meringue whipped up and stable, I would add the food coloring then. I did not like doing that because when you kind of beat more air into it, I felt like I was using more food coloring that way. Now, what I do is, after I fold in the dry ingredients, just until they're incorporated, so if you watch this video and you do the same times as me, I will be on my 40th fold is when I add my food coloring. Okay, so that is just what I do. I don't like to add it before I put, like if I've got the meringue ready and I'm getting ready to put in the dry ingredients, I don't like to do it then because it clings to the dry ingredients and then it makes the shell kind of speckled. So I don't do it then. I have done it before. It doesn't matter as much when you add the food coloring. The ninth question is, can you stop the mixer too many times? So it's not about stopping the mixer. That wouldn't really disrupt the meringue too much, but letting it sit too long. Like once you start whipping the egg whites, once you turn that on, you cannot stop. It'll start to deflate, and once you have to have everything ready once you start. So I used to like alert people, I'm starting, does anyone need anything? I'm starting. And everyone knew not to bother me from when I put that mixer on until I was finished piping and they were drying. So it's like the clock starts once you turn the mixer on. But if you turn it off, turn it back on, that's not gonna be a problem, just don't let it sit at all. Okay, the 10th question is, can you beat your eggs at a lower speed for a longer time to help with hollows? That is something you can do that seems to help a lot of people, but just if you're gonna start selling and you really need to make a lot of macarons in a short period of time, maybe try to get rid of hollows another way before trying this method. But if you're just baking them for fun and you just don't want hollows, take your time. Okay, and if you are ready to start selling your macarons or any other baked goods, I have a course called the Home Bakery Blueprint where you can work with me to start or grow your home bakery business. I will put a link to join the email list in the description, and you'll get an email whenever spots for that open up. If you'd like, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll put those links in the description. Okay, check out these other macaron videos. Okay, love you, bye.